Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Today, in episode 174, I'm very happy to bring back my returning guests, Elsa Dillon and Frank Castle. Frank Castle is a writer, producer, MC, and a founding member of the music group Heist Click, as well as a neo shaman. He also hosts inspiring conversations with his popular YouTube podcast called Frank Castle Fearless, where he delves deep into the nature of reality. Frank's most current music project, Sons of the Sun, debuts high frequency, futuristic nostalgia vibes back into the listening environment of music lovers everywhere. Elsa Dillon is the mother of 8 children with husband Richard Dillon, and they are a family of 10 experiencers. Both Elsa and Richard are international fashion photographers and videographers, shooting celebrities and behind the scenes professionals for magazines and advertising for over 3 decades. This is the Dillons' second incarnation here on Gaia. They are a family of oversouls, all called in together again to incarnate in this realm. They have experienced over 600 beings to date in many forms and multidimensional realms. With their oversoul connections, they receive messages and happenings with the paranormal. To find out more about Frank and Elsa, the links are featured below in the description. Thank you for subscribing. Leave me a comment and smash that like button. Today, we will discuss our interdimensional cats and the spooky things they do. Frank and Elsa, welcome to the Quantum Guide Show. Nice to have you back.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. I've been counting the days down for the cat chat.
Yeah, it's great. Now, we're going to talk about our cats today, and I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm going to just start with one experience I have with my cats, and it freaks me out all the time. But basically, I let them out. I mean, I'm basically the doorman, in and out, in and out, in and out. And sometimes I just let them out. I shut the door to keep the flies out, and sometimes I forget about them. And I go, oh my gosh, I want to let the cats back in. So I go and I run to open the door. I call them and call them. They don't come. And I realize they're already in the house. How do they get into the house? Now, I've never had them leave the house without me letting them out, but they frequently, a few times a week, will let themselves in without opening the door. I have no idea how that happens. So I don't know if either one of you have had anything like that happen, but that happens to me quite regularly.
I'm sure that happens for Frank because Frank's got a lot
I
of cats. I
I
know.
had to my last apartment leave my window open in the kitchen 24/7, and we were on the ground floor because we were just opening and closing doors. And then when the cats had kittens, before we can round everyone up, there were cats everywhere. So we couldn't have the food outside, so we'd open the window and then keep it halfway, and the flies would get in, and then eventually we put a cat flap there, and cats would just be jumping in and out all day, even cats we didn't know. We even had 2 raccoons. One was really cool, but one was really fat, and he would rip through everything. And you can't really feed them here because then it gets crazy, but when there's one, it's no big deal. And then we had squirrels and birds, and then that didn't work out too well when they came in the house, and the 12 cats are just sitting in the house, right? So we constantly went through that. So here we had just moved. We have a downstairs cat window door, and then the dog door in the back, and one of them's always open to let them in and out. You have to, or you're just going to be opening and closing doors all day.
Well,
Yeah, totally.
that story reminds me of a kids' film where you wake up one morning and there's cats, and then the next morning you wake up and there's just like a zoo.
Yeah, I've gotten up and I'm like, who are is I was like, is this your cat? I'd look right at my mother and be like, is this yours? She'd be like, who is that? But that's what it is, though. So, like, my wife has this thing. If it has a face, I'm going to feed it. If it needs it, we're going to do it. You don't really get a say. So that's how she kind of puts it. But I understand where she's coming from. So we find that there's no fighting around the food dish, right? And then there's areas that are off limits to any kind of fighting or any kind of chasing people away. It's almost like that's home base and that's safe. We could all go in that area and hang out and no one has to run. But the minute you walk out that door, everything changes. Everything from zoomies to don't let the baby. It amazes me how we have older cats and then like the newest cat who's a year old now still gets beat up by the older cat, the old grandma cat. And I don't understand why. So she never comes upstairs, but she gets run of the entire rest of the house. And there's that jealousy or you weren't originally part of the pack kind of scenario going on. During the move, we lost 5 cats through fear and actual death, which was really weird. And it kind of brought the pack in a little bit. So the scenario is changing. We're still all getting used to each other in the new place.
Yeah, yeah, it takes time to adjust. I have a rescue cat that I got 7 years ago, and then last year I ended up getting another rescue cat. And when you get a rescue cat, you know they're a little they take time to gain trust and to kind of be part of the family. But my older cat, she did not want this second guy to come into our family, that's for sure. She just hissed at him. She was so awful to him. But now I catch them and they're playing together and it's working out. And I live where it's really super cold in the wintertime, like 40 below. And he had wandered into a neighbor's and he was starving and he was frozen and he was in really rough shape. And she couldn't keep him because she had dogs. And I said, well, I'll take him and foster him. And we did everything we could to find the owners. We never did. So I decided to keep him, but they're settling in really well. And another thing that's sort of paranormal and spooky about him especially more than the other cat is whenever I experience what I'm going to call an anomaly. So, for instance, when I sense there's a presence around me, but I can't see it with my eyes, I can't hear it with my ears, but I sense it, he knows it's there and he looks at it and he'll follow it around. And I don't know if it's orbs or what, but he does that. And then occasionally I'll have some unknown force, I don't know what it is, will move one of my big leaves off one of my big tropical plants, like kind of really move it. And he sees it too. So he sees what I sense, but I don't see what he sees. Elsa, you want to tell us a bit about your cat experiences?
Well, we have to have a story like Frank. We have a cat where his name's Sphinx, and he has the most beautiful face. He looks like a sphinx. Most of our cats are black, and Sphinx is this cat that we kept because I just felt this drawing with him. So out of the kittens, we kept Sphinx. Anyway, Sphinx. Well, I'll say, has anyone seen Sphinx lately? And they'll say no. And sure enough, I'll go to one room and his head's at the window there. Then I'll go out to the farm shed and he's there. I go out to the front of the farm. He's there. Like, how is he doing this? Because he's got to pass all the horses and the chickens and the dogs, but he's just there. And he doesn't have like a sweat up or he hasn't been running. He's just there and his head's really close. Like his eyes will be really so it's like it feels like a movie with me and him. It's amazing. But yeah, he's got the most funniest personality, and the he has this meow that sounds like a girl, so we tease him because so imagine you're in one room and then he's there and then you have this really squeaky meow. It's just I the cats, like Karen said, they know. They see. That's one of the biggest confirmations for our whole family is they see them. They see them. You see them watching them. This is how we learned how feng shui is amazing, because of the cats. Because the cats would tell us what rooms had the best energy and what had the most EMF. So not only did it heal us, but it also helped us balance the home as well. So the cats and the ants and the bees help us around the house with EMF. So we know if there's a area where this needs work or.
That's amazing you're saying that. I we had a concrete couple of slabs out in the back as a backyard, right? So we built our own everything. There's tomatoes now. There's like a little area of grass for the dog, and squash and blueberries and stuff, everything, and then specific wildflowers just for the bees. They're all in little containers and everything. But by the time the bunch of us here were done, it's lush and green back there, and we have only lavender in the front of the house. I mean, a lot of lavender. You'd be like, wow, right in the middle of the Bronx, just a giant, big old lavender thing. Yes, and there's bumblebees everywhere. They're around us in the front and in the back. They never bother us. They stop over to say hello. We put out a sugar water dish. Once again, no fighting around the food dish. We notice that even with the insects. The ants don't come in the house anymore. I've never had anytime I've had a problem with them, I literally would meditate to them. There's so much more to these stories, but like I would meditate into, you got to get out of the house. I'm not here for the war, but I'm going to give you some time. I'll feed you outside, but you cannot come in. The ants, my mother had problems here for years. We just moved in. She saw a couple. She freaked out. They're all gone because I'm outside going, everybody out. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. I see where you're going. And then I put food out for them. And then it stops. So we're connecting to them on this huge level. And the cats definitely see what's going on around here. My mother was afraid to sleep in her bedroom. After my grandparents passed and she inherited the house, we've always had incidents in the home where you see something. And we always say, if you see something, say something around here. And they'll always say it at dinner. But now when everyone's gone and there's just one person in the house, it gets kind of scary. Even the dog was scared. And we came in with the cats and started clearing the house daily. What is in this house that's making my mother nervous? And what happens? My mother, we tell her, listen, you're not going to think about this, but one day you're going to open your eyes. All 5 cats are going to be in the living room staring at you. They're going to all be protecting you. And she's like, yeah, right. She wakes up, Sugar Pop's laying next to her. The baby's on the chair like 2 inches from her head. Oscar's coming in and out of the room, checking every 5 minutes. And she's like, wow, this is crazy. I'm like, it's like they're patrolling. They come and lay on you when you're needed, when that vibration changes and there's something in the room. Their visual is more than ours. So in the light that we get into our eyes to see what we see, they get a broader spectrum. So they're seeing all the things we're not seeing to some degree or another. I notice demons, just beings. It just energy itself changes. I've noticed them do that. I've seen them protect my wife, and I've had them protect clients during ceremonies where they would literally just go right over and they'd all start sitting on them. And then myself, I had kittens protect me many years ago when they were all kittens. My kitten, specifically Squeak, jumped on my head during a ceremony and held on. But I freaked out. Because I'm bald. So I was like, oh my God, my head's being ripped apart. But when I was under, I was being attacked and I was trying to handle something and it like latched to my head. And now the cat's on my head latched like a hat. And I thought it was all really, really happening to me. So I had a moment, but it snapped me out of it and the whole thing just stopped. And I was like, wow, look at that. The cat just threw itself on top of my bald head during the ceremony. It's never happened before. They're not aggressive. They're all lovey-doveys, these cats. I highly suggest having a cat in your home, by the way. We have no
I
mice
do.
either.
I do too. I do too, Frank. Another thing this is really weird. This happened to me. I don't know why I have these experiences. I just have them and they just happen and I can't explain it. But anyway, one night I was getting ready, I was in my bed, I was getting ready to go to sleep. And I could hear I could hear the cat I had at that time chasing something under the bed. And I wondered, what is going on under there? And all of a sudden, within a flash, I was transported where I could see what my cat was seeing. And it never occurred to me, like I know that they see other bandwidths of light frequency that we don't see, but it never occurred to me that the different, like the spider that my cat was chasing, it had like stripes. It looked like it had been painted with neon stripes. So if I looked at the spider, I would just see a black spider. But my cat, when it looked at the spider in the dark, I guess because of the way they reflect the light back, it was flashing off of these bands. And so it was really quite amazing. And I was like totally intrigued that I could see, and without being under the bed, just through my cat's eyes, that I could see what the spider looked like. And I went, well, no wonder my cat's going crazy for the spider in the middle of the night. I would too. It has all these neon stripes on it and dots and things that I didn't even know were on spiders. So like I can't explain why that happened to me, but it really helped me to get a grasp on how much more cats can see than what we see. So even though this was a three-dimensional experience, it didn't involve ghosts or entities or ETs or anything like that. It still was an amazing experience. Elsa, have you experienced anything like that, or anything that gave you a kind of some insight into how cats perceive?
Well, the cats, well, the cats are through all cultures pretty much sacred, except for the Romans and the Catholics. Which is
Interesting.
it's funny, right? Because my dad's Greek Egyptian, so they grew up in Egypt, but they're Greek origins. But in Australia here, they have a cat hate. They have trained society that cats kill all the native wildlife. So a lot of people hate cats in Australia.
Hmm.
So if you say you have a cat, they go, "Oh, have you got birds?" And I'm like, "Of course we have birds." They play with the birds. They only eat the birds if the birds are injured, or the birds aren't stupid. They know where to sit on the branch. The birds don't sit and wait for a cat or a python to come eat. They sit on a branch that bows more if something heavier comes on it. So that's how they know they're safe at night. Like, nature's smart. Humans think they've got to step in all the time and protect, but really, nature's looking back at humans, going, "What are you guys doing?" anyway, with cats, they were used in many cultures to protect. They were used because they stopped plagues, and they were respected. They were fertility. They're great healers. Their purring heals you. The purring heals us. So if our kids are sick, we say, "Well, you're going to need a cat scan." So the kids grab a cat and scare. So if someone comes over to our house and says they're not feeling well, or they feel a little bit, sad or something, the kids will grab a cat and give them a cat scan. And it sounds silly, right? And it's cute and it's playful, but this is a thing. The purring is so healing, and it's also one of the cat's downfalls is that they are such great healers that if they get a wound, the heal seals over really fast. So then sometimes this seals in bacteria. So you'll see a lot of cats where they have cysts on them, and they can get quite big. It can be fatal. Well, the other day, we live on a farm. We're 10 minutes from the farm. We don't have time to go to vets all the time. It's expensive. We don't really trust all the information we've been given from them, just because of the way it is. So we just don't go to vets. And anyway, so the cat has a cyst. So we get a blade, surgical blade, and peroxide, and we slice the cyst open so it can release it. Otherwise, it toxifies the cat and will kill it if it gets too big. Well, let me tell you, in this cyst, we're pulling out live parasites, like live. Then I look over in the water, the same parasites are in the water. And I said, that's it, the whole family's doing a parasite cleanse this week because look what's in this cat. She's telling us this cat knew that we were helping this cyst. It allowed us to cut this cyst open. And not only did it allow us, all day long it was like following us going, meow, meow, meow. So it was like he was saying, ow and thank you at the same time. So he was kind of sad before we started the incision, clean it out, pull this, entities or whatever it was in him out. And then he follows us around all day saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. So for us, they've taught us ways to heal ourselves as well. So we understand. So thanks to that cat, we could heal ourselves that week. So, but people say, well, that's not interdimensional. That's not, I'll say, are you, really? So this is telepathy with the cat. This is another entity involved. This is a third party. Like this is, the more we approach, like with the bees, how Frank was saying with the bees, the more we approach it so that you could talk to them. Like Karen's seeing the disco spider. The more we understand this, and the more we accept it, the more we do things like this, share and tell our stories about this, our cones in our eyes will change. Because we'll start being attracted to wanting to let the same light in as the cat. And this story of Karen is great excitement for me because that means we can do this. We can actually want it. And this is what it is. This is what you're doing. You're walking into it. That was a lot I said. I'm sorry.
But that was great.
Great. I just want to tell you something. I started doing this, like about 30 years. I'm old, so this was a long time ago, about 30 years ago, where I would go to a river, lie on a rock, a nice big flat rock to bake in the sun, and I'd look up and I'd see the eagles flying around above me. And so I started practicing being able to see what they saw through their eyes. And I don't know if we swap souls or what. I don't know if they're still there and I'm joining them. I don't know exactly how all this works. It just works. And I was able to train myself to be able to see through the eyes of the bird and see me lying way, way down below, lying on the rock. And ever since then, I've had a sort of an easier time to somehow be able to see through the eyes of different animals. So I think that's sort of how I was able to then have that experience with the cat. I don't know. Frank, do you know how any of this works?
So I've had a few of those experiences as well. I think that we're all one, right? So you're just connecting to the other being. So you're not really I don't think you're swapping out, but you're sharing the whole thing, right? There is I don't know what the other side, what the eagle would see, because I would feel like if the eagle jumped into me, he'd be like, what the hell is this? But I have overlaid on the eagle, saw out the eagle's eyes. But I was attacked by a demonic entity when I first met my wife. And I was just a lone shaman doing my thing. And I didn't trust anyone. But I was in her house. We were drinking ayahuasca in there. And there was an old man, like a entity, like a ghost that was living upstairs. And he was frightened. I saw him when I was drinking ayahuasca. I was like, there's an old man up here. And they're like, oh, yeah. That ghost is like, he comes out once in a while. He's very friendly and very polite. And there's two girls that live there. It was my wife and a friend. And then there was like, but there's something else in the house. It's really nasty. So one night, not on ayahuasca, Paul was like, go down to the basement, get me some stuff. I don't like to go down there because it's down there. I'm like, oh, you should have just told me this. I would have went downstairs and drank ayahuasca. I'll go down there. So I was going down there to get something out of the freezer. So Oscar the cat started, he was like following me, but he was like at the top of the stairs. He was just like staring at me. So I go down there and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing here, blah, blah, blah. I go into the whole, rant. If there was something in here, I'm a shaman, I'll smash this thing. I go to open the freezer and I hear, oh, I got you alone. And I just turned around and there was a wolf. I've never seen a wolf in person, but it was there. It was dark and it was drooling. And it was looking at me and I froze. Like I just couldn't move. I was so frightened to death. I've never been affected outside of the ayahuasca thing before. Like what's happening to me? And I went down like a fainting goat almost, right? Like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. And I laid down like I was going to die. Like, this is it for you, Frank. You're getting it. And this was huge. And Oscar, I saw out of my third eye, I was frightened to my core out of his eyes. And he came down the stairs, jumped right in front of me. Then Roxy came downstairs and started walking in circles around me. I never experienced this from cats before, and I was coming from a point at that time that they're not intelligent like dogs, or like I was trying to put it together. I'm not even that I was a dog guy. I just wasn't a dog or a cat guy or an animal guy at that time. And I didn't think they were intelligent enough that you can do stuff like that. So I get out of the scenario, but only due to the cats that were in the house. They fully protected me. And it looked like they were swatting at this wolf, but the wolf got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until I could sit up. And then that was it. The experience was over. And then the cats have been with me. They've been with me ever since. I've never spent a day not with them. And if I did, it was because I had to go somewhere and like clients came in and I had to go spend the night out for ayahuasca. It was like 9 years straight of them just showing up and saving the day. Well, who are these beings? I say to myself, who is Oscar that he's so connected like this, that it looks to me that he's so much smarter than the other cats that if he just sat up and said hello, I wouldn't be surprised. I tell people this and they don't believe me. I'm like, yo, my cat Oscar smokes weed. And they go, no, he doesn't. So we had a birthday party for me a couple years back. My brother got there early and we were smoking a giant ganja blunt, and it was just me and my wife. So my brother doesn't smoke. He's like, hey, what are you doing? So we're like, nothing. We're just passing it back and forth. Oscar gets up on the couch, sits up like a human, and then pulls her arm over before she passes it to me. And then he just smells it and then sits back. And my brother's like, did that cat just smoke that? I'm like, I'm telling you, man, they like what they like. My wife's brother used to put magic mushroom shake in a bowl of water and then put another bowl of water right next to it. And all the cats would drink out of the mushroom water and have the best time. He's like, they know what they're doing. They're loving it. They're loving every second of it. Makes you wonder who they are. What's running that? What's inside there? I walk around saying I'm the all, so I must have been a cat. For me, it was obvious when I met my wife under my experience. We were cat beings. We were lion beings. We were like smaller cat people beings. I mean, over and over again and all these things. And I'm like, well, that's cool. That's me. Who are they? Some of them are us. It's like a piece of you to show you love, make you understand. A fractal of you, maybe. Or they're a being that's in there running it. At no point, if anyone tells you that animals aren't alive or birds aren't real or cats don't have emotions, don't listen to those people because they're 100% wrong. They're fully ranged with that because just like us having come in and experiencing the reincarnation cycle, the cats are doing obviously the same exact thing that we are, because at one point you were the cat. It's the only way to get here on Earth as a creator being, to change this place, is to start at the beginning before any of the nonsense started. So we came in then we created the cats eventually we merged the snake and the lion to create, like, between parties, different species, like some kind of love bond that would connect us. And what we wound up creating was our best friends against, on the dark end, the reptilians and the attacks, the demonics, the snakes, this, that. The cats are there for us. And on the other end, it's like healing and beauty and love, protection.
Well, I would agree 100%. I would agree. Elsa, you're laughing. Tell us what you're thinking.
Well, the origins word of cat is the down ones. They come, they're going down or they're coming down. This is the name of cat. The cat would be used in witchcraft. This is why the Romans and Catholics didn't like them, but they were there to assist humans. So you would have a cat, like exactly everything you guys are doing with the cat. The cats follow you around, they know everything, they can see. So once you start doing this magical thing that Frank and Karen have said, where they share between the animal, so they're sharing the vision. Are you hearing these words? So you're sharing, you're becoming electrical arc beings with them now. So if you can do it with a bee and you can do it with an eagle, of course you can do it with the others. Now these cats come in and yes, they tell us of all the scary stuff. They're healing those ones too, because those beings are saying, oh my gosh, I'm alone. I'm scared in this house. I don't know who are all these aliens walking around with these things and they're talking to them like these boxes. I mean, if someone, I was saying, if these ghosts, if they're hundreds of years old or beings that have been here for a long time, we would look very confusing to them. We would look like the demonic ones, especially how we behave, a lot of us. You know, whether you're the ones that are on default are behaving quite, badly to animals, society, others, and these animals see it, and also the other beings see it. So they would be very wary of us. So the animals are healing them too. So they're like a mediator or something in between. But it's about being a true electrical being, is this sharing and giving. So I agree with Frank. I don't believe they take over us, but we definitely become like a conduit. We're arcing with them. And the more and more and more these conversations are held, and the more and more it's actually just become like how you guys wake up in the morning and it's just it is what it is. The cats are telling you there's a wolf there. The cats are telling you there's a ghost there. The cats are telling you there's a being there. It's just like it becomes our normal, and we incorporate it, and boy, will our life literally become more multi-dimensional. But it will just be a daily thing. It won't even be a big deal. It'll just be that plus making a coffee.
Yeah.
That's the beings. They argue with me about the superpowers. They're like, they're not superpowers. You're just innately born with them. And I go, like the X-Men, they're superpowers. And he goes, no, but you can just do all this. I go, and at this level, Frank hears this and he's like, that's superpowers, bro. You mean I could talk to the cat? Yes. The cat's going to listen? Well, for the most part. Your empathy and your shared, the arc, it's like a dope sharing back and forth. They're aloof animals. Sometimes they got to go over there, but they're coming right back. They expand your awareness field, right? And I'm like, wow, look at that. And then you find out that other beings, other things are actually in the cats, which is why some of them are so fearless, because they're not cats. Right. And then you jump into that category and you're like, wow, so each one's got its own individual personality, but is being run by a completely different entity that wouldn't actually even be considered a cat. It's just
Yeah.
having the experience of a cat with you under contract most of the time.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, I love what you guys are saying. I just want to take a minute to do a very brief promotion. It's only a couple minutes long, and then we'll be back to this exciting conversation. Hang in there, guys. Hi, guys. Break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When Orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show. Thank you. So, getting back to the conversation, I was thinking during the break that just as we are not what we think we are, just like Frank says, the animals and the other beings around us are not necessarily what they appear to be as well. And since humans are interdimensional, why wouldn't our animals and bugs and all kinds of things also be interdimensional? I used to have a terrible time whenever I went into the woods because all the no-see-ums and the mosquitoes and everything would go, "Ooh, yummy, Karen," and they'd come flying out and they'd start feeding off me and bugging me and biting me. And one day I just tried. I try all kinds of crazy things because I just figure I got nothing to lose. So anyway, I just said, I just sent it out a thought wave or a thought pattern. And I said, "Hey guys, can you do me a favor and just leave me alone? There's lots you can feed off of in this woods. You don't need to feed off me. I would really appreciate it if you would please leave me alone while I'm here sharing space with you in the woods." And it worked. And every time I go into the woods now after that, the same thing. And so I think you're right, both Elsa and Frank. I think that we are connected uh, with the great, I don't know if it's the universal consciousness or something, but we are absolutely connected. And then I think that the cats are much more than what we think they are. And I think there's a reason, like what Elsa was saying, about them being sacred in so many societies and throughout history. And I know for a fact, my cats know when I'm not feeling well and they come and they comfort me. I know, they know, when I'm doing okay and they can go for a little walk. They're so intuitive. It's amazing. And also, I believe they understand me when I talk to them, which I do all the time. Yeah, I know, crazy cat lady, and I have no problem with that. And I'd actually like to have more cats, but I find too is a big responsibility, not just the care and feeding and stuff and being their doorman, but also their little psychology needs. Sometimes they need me to tell them they're beautiful and that they're okay, just like we need that too. Anyway, I don't know if either one of you want to add to that part of the conversation or take it off in a different direction. Up to you.
I just want to say when I met Space Jesus, people laugh at me all the time. I say Space Jesus, right? I was not under any influence. It was about between 11 and 12 in the morning. It was the most beautiful day, and I had my cat Buddy, who I used to say this all the time. He needs me every day to pick him up and hold him like a baby and cradle him and tell him how much he's loved and all this stuff. Like, he literally would come up to me and want that. We'd be like, up. I'd put him up. I'd curl him into a ball. I'd rock him and I started singing to him. I just make up songs and turn around. He's right there. And they told me I broke frequency. I heard the birds change the tweets. I was standing under a tree. They started sounding like a song, and I was singing a song to my cat, just all, nice and cute. And then I said, look, they're singing to us because they're singing to you. You're so beautiful. And I turned around and he was standing right there at my gate. There's a whole bunch of other characters with him, but he explained to me it took you to grab the cat to have all those ayahuasca experiences up to this point. Like he broke it down for me on that level to hit a frequency where I could just walk up to you. So you didn't just, whoa, look who it is. Because I grew up Catholic, but I had none of it in me. I could have cared less. I thought it was all fake. So when I saw him, I was like, wow, it's interesting. So he said it took you to sing to the cat to get this to occur. So there's no point in history moving forward that I'm not going to have one of our furry friends with us. The cats around here even slowed my mother down a little bit, and the dog. The dog was very rambunctious constantly. And now you got 5 cats laying around. Everybody's just hanging out together. The dog was just chasing cats every day. And now all the cats are in the house. And it's gotten to the point where everyone can just lay on the bed at once, which is kind of leaves me no spot, but everyone's on the bed. And it's almost being on the magic carpet, right? You follow them, right? You go out in the yard, you lay down. If the doctor's telling you to relax, most people are like, I don't have time to relax. Well, then you're going to have time for something later. Just follow the cat. Cat's like, oh, I'm going to purr and roll on my back and enjoy myself for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to be aloof and take care of myself and do exactly what I want to do. Right? You can take lead from a lot of these creatures. They're beings on other levels that were literally contracted to be with you because they knew that you would work with them on that level. So ignoring it kind of is like rejecting the great contract with nature, even being on the planet. When someone's like, ew, a cat, I know where it comes from, but mine came from ignorance. So is everybody that's as stupid as I was when it came to cats, right? I see you're a dog lover smooching the dogs. I'm a dog lover too. I have a dog. So, but I see you doing the same thing. But what happens is there's this happy balance that takes place, and it's there to show you, especially the people that are alone, right? It might, like my mother has like a companion constantly that needs to be. You need to pay attention. If you don't pay attention, you'll get problems. And those problems will arise out of personality issues and traits that are being developed because of issues that it's taking on your energy and reacting to you. So if the dog's acting crappy and with a crappy attitude, obviously it's coming from you. It's picking up your energy. So if the dog is rambunctious and can't sit down, and you're rambunctious and can't sit down, and then 8 cat people come and sit around you, you're going to be like, what's wrong with all these people? Oh, they just want to sit down and hang out and talk. And it's like, yes, because you're supposed to take a deep breath and just, it's what they teach us because we came from that environment, that crazy New York City environment. right?
Yeah.
They're all little. These are our little babies.
Totally, totally. I find that when I've been working on the computer for a certain amount of time, the cats will leave me alone, but eventually they'll come and get me and they'll scratch on the door and bug me till I leave the computer, and they want me to come with them outside and be in the grass with them. And if I go out and I sit down in the grass, of course, in the summertime here, because it's very cold in the winter, but I go and I sit down on the grass with them, and I'm all of a sudden I'm earthing, I'm connected, and they're so happy that I'm out there with them. They just come and get me when they know I've been on too long and I need a break. So they actually help safeguard my health as well as my sanity and my spirituality. I'm wondering now if we can just sort of segue a little bit in more detail into how cats are a protection. There are a lot of people who write to me and they say, "Oh, I'm having negative attachments are attacking me. I'm having negative ghosts. I'm seeing ghosts and spirits in our house, and you know I don't know. I should start asking them if they have a cat. Elsa, do you have anything you want to say about that?"
Well, I have a short story I want to tell you guys, because this is about a ghost with the cat. And it's happened with a few family members over a 10-year period. So it was quite a big cat, car. It's exactly what Frank said. They lead you to magic. They're the magi ones on path, and they lead you there. You have to earn a cat's respect. A dog is God. Dog is God. They love you unconditionally. But a cat, you have to earn. And I do love this about the cat. I love how when Richard's out in the sun meditating and just doing his thing, falling asleep, or the kids are, I will walk out and there's like 20 cats on top of them, like all lying on top. Or one, like Frank just said, on the head. They don't care. They're just like, I'm going to lie on this spot. I'm going to lie on this spot. I'm going, I wonder if they're lying on certain chakras for certain reasons and things like this. But through the cat healing us, they're healing themselves as well. So it's, again, a two-way stream. So 2014, 2012, 2011, I start, having these, the wake up, the call in. It's time to do it now. Yeah, we're going to start talking to you big time. And and then we shift up to this Byron Bay location. When we shift to this location, they have the hugest rats here. These rats are beautiful. They have silk fur because they're eating all the macadamia nuts. So we're on macadamia nut orchards all around us. The rats are so big and lush and healthy that the snakes become bigger. So we were told, get more cats because because the rats would be through the roof, and they take the macadamia nut, which is like a marble, up in the roof and keep rolling it through the walls at night. So it was just like, it was noisy. Like, I can hear them. And so the cats move them out. And then they move the snakes on too, the serpents. Anyway, the neighbours all around us on the farms hate cats because you kill all the wildlife, which is we just thought was crazy. Anyway, the farmer that would look after our nuts, he loved all the poison and spraying things, and he was very, very Australian farmer way. He hated the cats, hated us having cats. Anyway, one of our cats, Cola, who was very much like Sphinx, she was sort of like my cat, went missing for 10 days. This was the second last week in March. 10 days, we were just calling and calling for Cola. We couldn't find her anywhere. She had just gone. Anyway, this farmer came over to do the nut care with the tractor, and he came over and talked to us because he for some reason just loved talking to us, even though he found us peculiar. And I said, look, have you seen our cat? And he said, oh, yes. Yes, your cat's dead. I said, oh. And he goes, I said, so when did you see it? And he said, yeah, 10 days ago. And I was like, oh, okay. And I knew instantly, as soon as he said it, that he had possibly, the death of the cat was caused by him, whether it was his dog or he shot it or something. And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, can we come and get her body so we can, bury it or something like this? And he said, oh, no, I threw it in the gully. And I was like, you threw it in the gully? And he went, yeah. And I've got the little kids around me. We're talking little girls here, 2 years old, 3 years old, hearing him speak. And I said, well, thank you for telling me. And I'm just going to have to go inside because I'm a little sad. Anyway, so I went inside and, let go. And then that night we had candles out around the tree for her. And then 2 years went on, and another cat went missing. And the farmer brought the cat to us, this one that went missing. And he said, this cat was at our house, and I know how much you love your cats. And I just wanted to bring this cat back to you. So he changed. Anyway, years go by, so now we're in 2024. Our daughter's 20, Gemma. She goes to an antique store. She's in the car with her boyfriend. She gets in the car, she turns around, and there's the neighbour in the car, in the back of her car. Ghost. Not only does she see it, her boyfriend senses it's there too. Now, this is 2 weeks again at the end of March. The 1st of April was the day that he came and told us he killed the cat. I said to Jim, I think he might have crossed over. This happened this year, the 1st of April. And I said, I think he's trying to make amends because killing a cat is, you would be put to death if you killed a cat in Egypt, especially a royal cat. And I said his house went on the market, so we knew that possibly he's either in his death phase or he's crossed over. I said, Jem, this is our neighbour. He's come back to say sorry, to make amends, or maybe not even to say sorry, just to acknowledge what he had done. And I was like, wow, this is huge. This is going over 10 years. It's involving my daughter, who's not living with us. She's living an hour away. But he's found her. The ghost found Gemma so that he could do this process. And I'm still in awe of the whole thing. It's very real, though. And also having another third party who wasn't involved with us, the boyfriend, sensing him as well in the car. Mm-hmm. But the timing and the dates as well. Like he came in 2 weeks before the 1st of April, same time. I can't explain it. It's amazing. It is amazing.
Interesting.
It's almost like your contracted lessons. I hate to talk like this, though, and I'm very sorry that all that happened, but the lessons that were taught were learned and had to be done by the dates, and they're lining up, the portal dates for the exits. And then, man, it's really sad, but in the end, it comes back. It's like, yo, thank you for allowing that to happen. And I'm sorry that it happened that way. The cats take the hit for us. That they always do. We've had experiences where I had reptilians like walk in my house during a ceremony, and I was by myself, but my wife was there. They walked into the living room, and then there was like this tall gray, and the gray guy said he was like pointing his hands at me and like spitting this stuff out. It was like yellow energy, and I was throwing up yellow. It was the craziest thing, and I couldn't stop And then what I saw was like it looked like in a video game where you could kind of like choose a character, and they were all around me, and it was versions of me. And then they were like discussing who's going in to help them. Nobody wanted to help, but the lion decides to go. They said, "It's your turn, you go." And he was a big white lion guy, and he just jumps into me. And I stand up and I go, "No more of that. Everything's done." And then the ET looks over and goes, "Take everything, especially the closest to him, that one right there." And the kitten walked across the floor, and a man snake, he was a snake. He had a snake body and a tail, but he had little feet and arms, stuck his finger in the back of my cat, and it like snapped it off. And the cat just leaped into the air. Right now, my wife was only seeing the cat completely lose its shit, and then me like purging into the bucket nonstop, and then getting up and just yelling, "That's enough for you." The cat was dead in 2 days. Just
Oh,
so I went to the vet that night because he was just sitting at the water bowl, just sitting there staring. Okay, so they blew up X-rays of the cat, and I showed this on the original show on Truth Frequency that I was on. I showed the X-ray. So the doctor says there's just the belly, there's nothing there, and then what looks like the head of a snake with its fangs open, mouth open, and everything with the eyes. And he goes, and then this. And I was looking at my wife like, "Oh my goodness, like what the hell?" And he's like, "This cat's going to be dead, and by the end of the day, you have to put this cat down." And then I had to put the cat down right there. There was a crazy experience. But watching it from my angle, I'm like, they're obviously telling me something. Like what I'm doing in my home, the kitten has the ability to take a massive hit because it's just beautiful energy. So obviously, it's gonna be standing in front of me, even though it's a kitten. I should be standing in front of it. It's not how it played out, right? And the cat took the hit, and I've realized that they're more than just our little friends. And so after that occurred, and I'll be quick about this, but we had multiple cats incoming. So we have only one black cat. He has one white toe. His name is Little Bear. He survived. We thought we were gonna have to take his eye, all kinds of weird gunk and big old grape eye, and he was this big and just sick. Well, he said, "I want to live." When we were holding him, my wife said, "Do you want to live? If you want to live, I will nurse you back to health, but you got to let me know." He looked up and was just like, he sounded like because we have a lot of pigeons here. He sounded like a pigeon. He went, "Oh." So we were like, "Okay, nurse him back to health." So we called him Little Bear because he's this beautiful black cat that survived, is so healthy, and is nice and big now, right? Well, Little Bear, little did we know, be doing ceremonies, and I'd be getting thrown around again. There would be all kinds of entities and things that I was not prepared for, didn't set up for, or whatever. And Little Bear comes walking into the room, and Little Bear's, the entity running him, is what I could only describe as the size of a werewolf, as big as you think a werewolf is, like gigantic, but the head of a panther, and the body is more, it's like panther bearish. So he really is like this giant panther bear thing. And his eye here, he has a bad eye, so it like drips. That's the only thing that's wrong with it, right? So on the other side, it drips too. And it is one of the scariest creatures I've ever seen. However, ever since that day, my ceremonies are quiet. Quiet. The orange cat Sherman, we had him around during the ceremony, and he was a golden food dragon, no wings. And we used to call him Boobala. So I used to go under on the other side. I go, "Sherman, my Boobala," and then the dragon would show up. And no one wanted the dragon around. No one. They were like, "That thing's like the Tasmanian devil. You be walking around with that in your ceremonies." I'm like, "If you're scared, maybe you shouldn't be here." That's how we're going to play the game now. So the cats came in this other thing. Went from the baby kitten that could take the hit, just that was a kitten, to these other creatures that now showed up in the cat bodies. Like, "Go ahead, try that again." And you could feel that intensity around our ceremonies. with anything that would dare try to cross into it now, because they come in all different kinds. My cat Sugar Pop outside, she's a beautiful cat. She's so weird. She's so human-like and knows what she wants. And then you go under and look at her, and it looks like the lady from Cinderella, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo lady, having the experience of, she knew that she would be living. We would fix her. She was an outdoor cat, and then she would live her best life. You don't have to worry about nothing, and she doesn't. She lays on her back, shows her belly. She comes over you. She eats all day long. She hangs out with my mother, the dog, me, my wife, the other cats. I mean, just totally living their life, where you're like, wow, the other cat should take hold of this. But on the other side, that's a woman, an older woman that has had enough and wanted an experience of being more free. I just want to be a cat where you feed me and rub my belly and do all these. So you got that magic in there too. That's just like me being a cat and having the experience as well. After already being a cat being, as they would say from Lyria, I seen in the comments. And yes, I would say that my direct line would come from there at one point or another, because we were giant cat beings, small cat beings, even smaller cat beings than that. Come here, then I'd have to be a cat.
Yeah. So it sounds like all beings are avatars for souls or beings on the other side, and that we're all sharing space to have this three-dimensional experience together. I don't know, would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Yeah. And the more that we acknowledge it and share it like this and sit around and just share the kids' stories. I mean, some of them are scary stories, and they're exhilarating stories, and they're of pain and emotion and love and kindness. But these stories that we're sharing, you can see us around the campfire sharing these stories, and the little ones hearing the stories and hearing it and knowing that that is the way it is. Now you're creating a different society. Now you're shifting consciousness. And this is so important for where we are now, because so many people, souls will be wanting to be souls, but they're still stuck over here in this land, the 3D land, and it will be causing them discomfort. But the more they can hear stories like what you've just shared today in this chat, they will feel, they'll remember a story, or they'll go back to something that happened in their life, like that ghost that he came back to show remorse. Well, that's what our soul does all the time. It is our soul wants to be like a humankind. It really wants to be kind. It's searching for it. The animals are waiting for us. They're waiting for us. The trees are waiting. The water's waiting. Everyone's waiting for us to be this. And the more we just now make it like you guys are, that will, hang on, the cat knows what it wants. We should do what the cat does. What are we doing today? Oh, what's the cat telling me to do? I mean, this is such a great way of living, really. This whole idea of a week, to be weak for a week. Go see what the cat says. He's your shaman. You go see the cat. Go see the spider. Like, it sounds so silly because we've been told that it's silly. Why? Because it's obviously really powerful. That's why. If there's great power in this, they're not going to tell you that. Not if they want the power. Now take the power back in you and the animal, and respect those beings and respect you, and share. Go back to sharing and giving. And this is what this respect and homes you've given these animals and kindness is how I hope our children will be. They love it. This is how we are out here. And the animals, they all know. The animals know. We're not higher above them. We're just here as guardians and protectors. That's it. For the kids as well. So it's the feeling that I needed of hope years ago. I don't need hope anymore. I know this is how it's going. And it's because of you guys. So thank you for being there and doing this stuff, because it's because of you guys. I don't need hope anymore. We are the hope. We are the magic, and we're on path, and they'll follow, but we just got to keep sharing.
You know, I remember when I didn't need to hope anymore. I remember that moment. I remember when I'm like, nah, I know it. And people are like, you're so sure of yourself. I'm like, why does my sure of myself bother you so much? It's not like I'm walking around going, I'm so sure of myself. I'm not doing any of that, but I am, I guess when you're ready for that magic and you're like, yo, show me the magic, I'm ready, not believe it when I see it. You start to understand yourself on the highest level. And for me, I was like, everything is real. Everything is real. Every time I see something, it's like, wow, you too, you too. It's in the comic books. It's in the movies. It's in the television. They've been telling us for years. They've been showing us that cats are sacred in movies and all kinds of stuff, television and books since the beginning. And we're experiencing it. And we're like, oh my gosh. It's up to you to take the responsibility to go and do something like this with yourself. Like, you don't know how to meditate, sit with a cat. Go sit with a cat. The cat will show you how to meditate. The cat will just do it in front of you. It'll go like this, right in your face, right there. And then you're like, well, what is he doing? He's breathing and he's meditating. He's showing you. He's literally teaching you something. And then as your awareness expands, because you connect to these creatures, you dial into, dare I say, their senses as well. Right? When something enters the energy bubble, I want to be as generalistic as we could talk about. Like I create my aura, but me with 5 of my cats and my wife and my mother and the dog, the aura bubble's gigantic. When something negative or positive enters that bubble, however far it expands out, you become aware, just like the cat. You might not know right away, but when they know, you're going to know. You might even get a heads up first because it's you. It's always been you. And all these beings are here. I make a joke every time I go under and everyone's there. I go, oh, are you all here to see me? And they go, yes. Why do you think we're here with you specifically? So we could go see Phil down the block? This is here for you so you can upgrade and remember, because you're far behind. You're so far behind, right? It's speeding up now. It's like we're really speeding up now. And then the first thing that happened in my breakthrough with myself, like when my third eye's open, I'm meditating, I'm doing shaman work, and I'm going under, is the connection to the animal and the animal responding back to you, which is the signs that it's working. Because the first thing that comes is the animals. If you're in the house with any animal and you start doing anything spiritual, the animal at some point is going to join in. And then you're going to up the connection. And then things like nods, grunts, actual just talking. Like I talk to my cats all the time. I don't care if people think I'm crazy. I'm like, no, you crazy. Get out of here. You shouldn't even be listening to my conversation I'm having with my cat. It's none of your business. Right. And then because you'll express something through words to your cat, but the cat's not understanding the words. If you say it correctly, like without anger, without frustration, and you just say it, it produces a feeling as you're saying it, like, oh, I really love you and care about you. And even if the cat's being aloof and walks away from you and stays just out of arm's reach so you can't pet, it will understand the vibration of that emotional energy that you just sent to it, thus creating the understanding. It's like an empathic touch with the creature. Then that expands into the next thing. It's almost like having telepathy with it, right? Like you just begin to know what they want just by a look, just like they do with each other. And you're like, man, that is so simple when it works like this. And people come here just to watch this stuff go on here because we're in the city, right? So people are like, "Oh, who has 5 cats and keeps the house clean and with dogs and there's plants everywhere and there's all these." We don't have that in our homes. And I'm like, "Why don't you have that in your homes?"
Mhm.
Well, I had a plant and I killed it. I had an animal.
Yeah.
I can't spend enough time with it because I got to go to work. That animal's trapped in a little 1 bedroom. I can't do that to the animal. So we just come here and we like to come to your house. And then they all sit and start to do it with us. And it's all my friends that'll say, like, "Oh, yeah, you with your show and you're fearless and all your spiritual stuff. Uh-huh. Yeah, whatever." And then literally come over for that same reason. Like the feeling that I try to talk about and the things I talk about on my show, if you come and just sit with us, our house is just like that. So I don't have to do all this magic. You just come over. We are that. So you sit in it and they would make fun of me because of the way I am, but still come to my home to experience the magic that I'm talking about and then leave very satisfied. It's almost like they get cleaning and clearing every time they come to us. Right?
And they
The
can't see
animals
the
come.
obvious. And they
They
can't
never
see that
see it.
the obvious. Yeah.
And they
Well,
won't
they
have
be,
the conversation with you either.
well, they
They'll just go,
become
"Yeah, right,
fulfilled.
whatever." Oh,
Yeah.
I love it though. Oh my goodness. It's like you just can't connect those dots.
Yeah, I
So
love it's so well, they come to your place and become fulfilled. And this is you always hear this in spiritual, but it's also a digestive thing. So you'll actually stop needing food because you're doing this. Because you won't need that energy anymore because you're doing it. You're becoming fulfilled being in the presence of this energy.
okay, so you just totally blew my mind because we had a birthday party for my friend. He's my best friend, and he turned 49, and we bought a whole bunch of stuff for the barbecue, and then everyone ate a burger. That's it. We tried. Everyone was trying to eat. Nobody could eat. We were like, "Oh, I'm so stuffed." It's the most beautiful day. Plenty of food, plenty of stuff to dip into. You want to smoke, you want to drink, whatever you want to do. Didn't matter. I can't get the food into me. Then sometime around 8 o'clock at night is when you want to have your one meal. Because you literally, it's exactly what you're describing. Because the whole time we were playing with the cats, we were talking stuff, we were playing beautiful music. So yeah, I believe that. I'm like, I'm 220 pounds. I should be able to eat everything. And sometimes I do, but most of the times I can't now. I feel like I needed to bulk up to this size because my transformation, it eats it like, and then I go all the way back down again to 190 pounds. And it's like, oh, how did that happen? And then it just bulks up again and then it bulks right back down. But each time I feel lighter. And it's only in the presence of I hate leaving my bubble. No, I don't want to say I hate it. I dislike leaving my bubble here. And people
Mhm.
think I'm getting older. I'll be 50 in August. So they're like, "Oh, he's getting old." And I'm like, "No, maybe you just all suck." I go to your house, right? And what do? You complain about cats and you kick everybody out, right? There's always like a frustration and a travel problem. These people always complain and do drama, right? This always happens over here. I said, "Is anybody actually having fun?" No, I have fun in my home. I laugh. Me and my wife laugh so much that my mother thinks we're dummies. And she'll come in the room and go, "How old are you?" And I go, "The age has nothing to do with this, old lady. You either get with the program or get out," right? Like we just have fun with it. And we find ourselves just laughing. We're really trying not to take anything too seriously, including ourselves. Right? The only thing is you could take the time to heal, rest with your cats and your dogs, love them, give them the love. Take the time now, or else later on you're going to suffer the consequences of only the sad parts unless
Yeah.
you enjoy that journey with them. Remember, they're
Yeah.
not just animals, you know. They'll bring you into the higher realm just by being with them and loving them. A lot of people don't have anything to love. They don't understand it, right? So the cat or the dog would be the reflection for you. Say you don't have a baby. Say you don't plan on having children. Say you can't. right? And you don't want, say you just don't like kids. I don't know, whatever. But you look how cute and fluffy this thing. Well, that thing needs a mother. That thing needs a father, right? And it's not a thing. It's a beautiful creature. Pick it up, kiss it, give it a hug, watch what it does to you. A sparrow from outside once injured itself, and I nursed it back to health. And in 3 days, it was watching Game of Thrones with me, knew what time when I would shower. It picked up on my shower habits immediately and knew I sung in the shower. And I'd go sing in the shower, and she'd fly right over to me. We'd go right into the shower together, and she'd sit on the ledge. This was an outside little sparrow that you would never be able to touch or get near of. In New York, we just throw bread on the ground. These little things come and pick them up, and they're not pigeons. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. Well, that one, yeah, just one day was an independent thinking bird creature sitting with me. When it saw the dragons, it was like, went into my beard and was hiding. I'm like, this bird knows. I sing, and then I hit a note, and then the bird starts doing this thing and tweets. I'm like, it knows what's going on 100%.
Yeah.
I was watching Star Trek with the bird, and when I went, did the same thing, had the same reaction to the spaceship blowing up. Yeah, and then people are like, birds aren't real. These cats don't exist. They have no emotion. They have no feeling, and they treat them as such, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a couple people around here. They'll have, like, everyone around here has these giant dogs, and they walk them on the chains. And obviously, half the people that have them cannot even hold the dog on that chain. And they'll go, yeah, get the cat, right? This is how fights start around here all the time. What do you mean, get the cat? That's my cat. Right now, where are we at? You have a big dog. I'm angry. And you're like, why would you do that? Our animals have to become sacred again.
Yeah.
We have to bring them into that realm, and then they will bring us into the other realm, the thing that we've been missing the whole time. That's just something I've noticed about having cats. I went from being disinterested and unknowing 100% into being 100% on the other side. Right. And just to throw it out there, because they think every cat person in the world is filthy and has cat hair all over everything. I sit here cat hair free and in the cleanest house you can imagine, and have cats running all over the place. Right. So we're not weirdos, and that's not how it works. They're special sacred creatures. And on crazier levels that many minds can't handle, they literally take care of entities that we wouldn't be in full awareness or in noticing that it's there, but we have a feeling that something's going on, like demons, like something coming into your home to take a look that shouldn't be there, like those weird shadow beings that like to scurry through the house. You'll catch them out of the corner of your eye. You'll be like, what the hell is that? And all the cats get uppity and start chasing it, and you're like, oh, look at that. Well, we'll just call them attachments, things that can attach to you. Oh, cats keep you free of that, like they keep you free of mice and other
Yeah.
things that bring disease.
Yeah.
And I'm just throwing this out there because it's something that I learned to do. Everyone gets ivermectin in our home. Everybody gets that, and all the parasites are dead. We catch anyone with anything, it's time. Everyone gets around, including the humans, right? And then we keep it
Nice.
like that, and such an easier life. No visits to the vet. A $7 tube for
We
1,500 pounds of cats.
we we won't use the ivermectin. I can't believe I just said it because I never say it, but we won't, because this is the horseworming one. But we use I'm just saying this, Frank, because this might help you guys even more. We use MMS or
We have that.
turpentine oil or dimetolysis earth, and
I
sometimes
I use
one
the
won't work
MMS.
or the other one. Yeah, but we give it to the horses and the cats and the dogs, and
Yeah, we put it
that time.
in their
Yeah,
drop it right on their food on the dropper, right?
yeah. Or we give it
People laugh at
by
me.
syringe if we have to, because if they need a hit, like we've just had a lot of plane spray, so we'll give them a hit of that. But yeah, you
You're
have
the
to
only
do
other
the
person I've
cleansing.
heard say that.
Yeah, this is a big thing. Like today, I'm going to say, because we're all got mucus come out, we have to do a double shot for all the animals, because that they'll go down quick with this. What's going on? They go down quick if they've already had it for 10 days prior. So we stay on top of it in the whole farm, not just us. Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic. But people
yeah.
don't believe that works. And I'm like, nah, man, I had a tooth problem. And in 24 hours, I no longer had a tooth problem. Like it literally never hurt me ever again. Went away. Dentist was like, no, there's no problem. Whatever was
Yeah.
there, it just murdered it and got rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sinus infections, you could use it on. But people don't like hearing the mixture.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They're like, oh, what are you doing? And it's like, no, I'm telling you, 3 drops, shake it up, a couple ounces of water. You shoot that down, you're going to feel great tomorrow. You're going to clear your body right out. And the stronger the smell, the more infection you have in your body.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's like heavy chlorine smell when you do it, it doesn't taste like that when you drink it. But if you're smelling it, that means in you needs to be cleaned out. Because after you clean yourself out and you smell it, you don't smell the chlorination or what would smell like chlorine. Because it just took care of all the parasites in your body. It's just working with that medicine has been fantastic.
Wow, that's really valuable information. But you know what? We need to do another podcast. But right now, we're quickly running out of time, and I appreciate you both so much for being here. I'm wondering if we could just have a quick go round and you can tell people any closing comments you have and where to find you. That would be really great. Elsa, how about if we start with you?
We have a website called spinbeings.com. On there, you can go on it and see. If you click on the videos, you'll go in and you'll see all the interviews. And we just do little short videos and then lead you to the major videos. So, or the major interviews. So we'll just have little videos just to give you a taste of that person that we spoke with or the story we were talking about, and then it will take you to them. We do sessions, one-on-one sessions in Zooms. And we just keep sharing because the more we share around with interviews and going into big groups where we speak, everyone's getting it. They're getting it. They really are. They're getting it. And this is this feeling where I don't need hope anymore because I know we're getting it. More and more people are getting it. More and more people want to hear the words of truth, the words of the way, the words of love. They want to hear the light. They're over that. They're bored with that. And this is how we're going. So keep
Wonderful.
going. Thank you, Karen.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And Frank.
The truth is resonating. The frequency wants to be received. We're bored, we're tired, and we're done listening to the nonsensical rambling of the disenfranchised and disjointed systems that dare hold us in place and try to teach us and tell us and program us in the ways that are untrue. Okay? Now it is time. And what a time it is to be alive and aware, my brother Michael. That is the jam right there. He's a great guy right there. Thank you so much. So we are out there spreading the truth. Each one of us has a story. Each story connects to the next story over, and the largest story at large that's growing to build the bigger picture of what's happening around us. Okay. So if you want to join me, check me out. It's at Fearless Tribe on YouTube or Frank Castle Fearless. Also on Rumble, and you can find me on Twitter at Frankie Fearless. And I am wearefearless.com. I'm doing a little changing over there, fixing it up. And of course, Sons of the Sun Music. Check us out on YouTube and literally everywhere music is. Go in there and give it a listen. It's the high frequency, futuristic nostalgia sound. And the music has embedded in it everything the cats do, everything that I do, and everything my buddy Kevin does, and all the stuff we talk about. So come and join each and every one of us. Check us out, like, subscribe, share, and it's us against that algorithm. So show us a little bit of love. And remember, the universe rewards bravery. Let's do this. Thank you for having me so much.
Wonderful. So happy to have you here. And I'm just going to close out with one brief announcement, and that is I go live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, at noon Mountain Time, and 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Sundays for Aliens and Angels. It's a live group building Q&A community chat. And this week on July the 7th, my guest is Philip Kinsella. He's an experiencer and just a great guy to chat with. So I hope you'll all join us then. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you, my wonderful guests. I've enjoyed this conversation so much. And yes, all the links will be in the description below. So I'll say bye-bye for now. We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.